Thank you everyone for joining this presentation. Today I will be going over AC dielectric test systems with a focus on the new PLC controller that we're offering with our 700 series product line. So I will get started now. Just as a summary to go over what this presentation will focus on, the first thing we'll talk about is the purpose of AC testing. The different products that we test. There's a wide range that requires an AC applied test from cable to transformers, so we'll briefly touch on that. The different types of tests, there's some requirements for step or breakdown test, which we can discuss. The Hypertronix AC test systems, we offer a wide variety of products for different current and voltage ratings depending on what the test object is. Then we'll move on to the new PLC controller, which is the real focus of this presentation, as well as the CAC PLC remote and the different advantages that can offer. Okay, so just as a refresher to most of you, just want to go over the purpose of AC testing. This is to test the integrity of the different insulations that are in all the electrical equipment that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, from air to oil to SF6 gases, anything that needs to act as an insulation in high voltage electronics, you need to test to make sure that it will withstand those voltages. Another test or measurement that's done very frequently to test the quality of the insulation is a partial discharge test, which we won't get into too much details on this WebEx, but other WebExes, this information will be available. So the question is what type of equipment do we test? This gives you a list of the major products. There's many, many more. The ones we deal with most with our test equipment are transformers, motors, generators, cables, switchgear, insulators, arresters, bushings, and PTs and CTs. Now these are just a short list of the different products that we test, and for each of these products there's a different kV class, different size cable that requires different currents, so the different product lines are used for each of these different test objects. So to briefly go over the types of tests that we deal with and what our controllers and our units have to do is the first one is a withstand test, which is basically where you raise the voltage to a certain level, then you hold that voltage for a dwell period or a dwell time, depending on the test object or the standard that you're following. And if that insulation doesn't fail, then your test will pass. And then after that test is done, then what you do is you end up lowering your voltage back down to zero. If the test object fails in between during that dwell step, then the test fails. And as I mentioned before, if it does not fail, then the test object passes, and then you're all set with your test. Another type of test that is commonly done is a breakdown test, and this is very simple, as this plot shows. Is you have your voltage and your time, and you just raise the voltage continuously until your test object fails. So until that insulation breaks down, you continue to increase the voltage, and then once the insulation in that test object breaks down, then your voltage will go back to zero. Another common one is the step-by-step test, and what this is kind of a combination of the other tests before. Is what you'll do is you'll end up increasing voltage in different steps. So you'll go up to a certain voltage, then you'll dwell for a prolonged time period. You'll go up in voltage again, and then dwell again, up again, dwell again, so on and so forth, according to either your internal requirements or standards that you have to follow. And then the last one is custom tests. There's a lot if you're doing different types of type testing or R&D, where you need to do your own type of sequence, where you might raise the voltage up, very, very high, then dwell, then bring it down, basically any type of sequence that you can think of, some customers need to do on their test object. So just to recap on the product lines that we offer for AC testing, we have our resonant test systems, which is our MSR and TSR systems. These are used for much higher voltage and higher power requirements. We won't get into too many details on these two products, but these are used for power transformers and power cable commonly. We also have the different transformer type, the 700 series, which we will focus on later on with the new PLC controller. We also have an ASTM D149 breakdown test system, and then we have the small portable and benchtop units that are used in labs, much lower current and lower voltage than the other systems. So this is just a graph that gives you an idea of the different series and the voltage and power levels that they're used for. The 700 series, as you can see, is used for much lower voltage and power ratings. Then you have your TSR, tank series resonant systems, which is in the middle of the road, and then your MSR, modular series resonant, which is your much higher voltage and higher power. The 700 series, quantity-wise, is what we manufacture the most. That's the most common voltage and current range with all the different industries that we sell to. This is a breakdown of just a block diagram of a typical AC test system, whether it's one of our bigger resonant test systems or the transformer type, such as the 700 series. The main components that are used are the main power circuit breaker, the high voltage on and off contactor, you have your voltage regulator, then your high voltage section, your test object, and then obviously your controls to vary the voltage and also set your parameters that you require for your test. The different controllers that we use for the systems that I just spoke about couple slides before. The PLC control is used for the 700 series and D149. These two are two different controllers, but they are both PLC based. For the TSR and MSR, the larger systems, the OT248 is used. This is a Windows-based controller. The OT248 can also be used with the 700 series AC dielectric test sets. And the OT257, which is also a Windows-based controller. This controller is fitted with a complete desk. It also has more memory for storing more data, and this one is used with the TSR and MSR systems as well.